Is efficiency a dirty word? If you think about this in terms of the scale that they have to work, in the US alone, there are 100 million people who are currently actively investing in the bond and equity markets through institutional products such as ETFs, mutual funds, institutional funds. And it's now the responsibility of our clients and those asset managers to be able to deploy that capital appropriately, to monitor where it is at any given time, and then also to manage the risk around that. I think the additional point there is when we talk about the macroeconomic backdrop and the geopolitical situation, the market volatility immediately leans into a greater need for risk management and being able to monitor those exposures. And certainly, having the appropriate technology and access to data is critical in that.
Yeah, and being able to do that at your fingertips. That's never been easy.
No. In relation to return on investment, that focus on understanding your fixed costs, but also understanding the difference between high versus low margin business has really sort of ramped up in the past 10 years. I think the need to drive efficiency through the entire investment life cycle is greater now than it's ever been.
And what's actually interesting in the operating models is you see a lot of asset managers who perhaps had previously outsourced their operations workflows. They're now bringing them back in-house, which you would think would be counterintuitive. However, they're using that ability to come in-house and, one, scale their operations workflows that are inefficient, and two, be able to focus on things and products that can provide clients with much more unique solutions. And you see asset managers go both ways. They either decide to outsource or insource, but it's an interesting trend that seems to be ping-ponging a little bit at the moment.
Yeah, I think in terms of the insource versus outsource debate, it's really part of the sort of analysis of what our asset management community consider value. And is it a value-driven function which they want to control and manage themselves, or is it a commoditized function which they feel is more appropriately outsourced? And certainly that sort of recognition and assessment of value is sort of a cornerstone to that decision.
We're seeing a lot of M&A activity, and honestly, I don't think it's going to slow down. And as M&A activity happens and asset managers merge, they not only are merging to provide different products to their end clients, but they also have to think about how we're going to operate as one, business. And that is not an easy problem to solve. So this concept of being able to be efficient and be able to scale that will be more and more prevalent in the industry.
I think to some degree, efficiency became a dirty word when people started applying it to the concept of doing more with less without enabling a solution or technology to follow that. So I think people got very afraid of the term efficiency because of that, because it naturally led towards this idea of sort of retrenchment. The complexity in the market brings a different dynamic to the way asset managers work now. And as a result of that, scale becomes the most important component of how they can grow and continue to stay competitive.
Scale is often equated to do more with less. I think it's more do more with technology.
The relationship between scale and transparency is data. So the only way you can achieve scale is by having a set of transparent metrics that you're managing to. Asset managers are now equally as interested in the private market space as they are in public markets, and they want to be able to treat both in the same way, have access to the same data, and to be able to manage their risks in the same way. And obviously, it's only advances in technology and data collection that's enabling us to do that. That's where the high quality integrated data aspect becomes important.
You took my line.
There you go.
Yeah.